Alright everyone, welcome back to another Star Wars Galaxy of Heroes video with Fat Phil, and today I want to talk about just what you should be doing to prepare your account for the coming changes to SWGOH. That isn't just the, hey, we're going to be getting a new raid, which we are. We're going to be getting a new raid after the Battle for Naboo, and you want to be prepared for that. But you've also got to think that we're moving into the age of Jedi vanguards with Jocasta New coming, and if we're being honest, we know that another galactic legend will be coming to offset GL Ahsoka. So we are going to want to get your account prepared and get you in the mindset for those coming changes. So please like and subscribe, comment down below. I really appreciate you guys sticking with me while I still continue to sound like Robert Kennedy Jr. and get my voice siphoned, as the video goes on. So I appreciate you guys. Give a shout out to our channel members, as always, for their continued support. Thank you guys. I can't say enough good things about every single one of you. I love the interactions we have in the Discord, whether it's in the members only section or via DMs. You all are awesome, except Andrew Bradshaw because he's a Chiefs fan. Yeah, and Allie too, actually, both of you. I'm just kidding, guys. I love you all. You're great, and I can't thank you enough for your continued support. So go ahead, guys. Make sure that you comment about my voice. The jokes about my voice lately have been top notch, so I want to give that shout. Let's get in here. Let's talk about some upgrades you should be making and some things you should be doing. All right, so let's start with kind of the first thing that I want to make sure we're getting ahead of here. You should not be pre-equipping gear or Zetas to anybody right now. And, and I'm going to say with the caveat being unless you are committed to that farm. So an example here is the new Bad Batch. Unless you are 1000% committed to gearing up this Bad Batch, taking them to relics, don't be pre-equipping any of the Chirotech. Because you don't know what could be coming down the pipeline. You don't know if you're going to be needing that gear for somebody. I really don't try to pre-equip gear because if something does come up and I need to react, I want to be able to have that stuff. And the same thing goes for Zetas. Save some of those Zetas. You don't want to be in a Zeta crunch, especially for those of you who are purchasing these Lightspeed bundles. You don't want to get caught out with Zetas equipped on a team that you're not going to be able to be using. And so that sounds kind of silly, but just think about this. If I equip Zetas on these guys right now, what the hell purpose does that serve? Realistically, what purpose does that serve? It doesn't help me with anything, right? Having those Zetas is not going to change anything on the characters because I'm not ready to start the journey. Once I'm ready to start the journey, hell yeah, I'm equipping them. But before then, it doesn't matter. It just looks cool. So just don't pre-equip stuff. Especially with the way the game moves now, you're better off to have that in your inventory because maybe there's you need that STAP surviving feat, and maybe your STAP is just too low to get through and you need to equip some gear. So that's just, again, I know that sounds like silly, but I promise, guys, it is important. So just, again, back of your head, just don't go crazy with this because a lot of people get burnt by pre-equipping gear. Excuse me. All right, next, the Jedi vanguards. I think this faction is going to be obviously very good, right? It's getting a conquest unit, but I'm looking at these 5 and saying this is where I would be investing my resources. Now, 4 of these are Naboo raid characters, so obviously that's beneficial. And that's Keller and Beck, Shaak Ti, Qui-Gon Jinn, and Plo Koon. Barriss is the 5th one here, and the reason I have Barriss is because she's a very good plug-and-play unit. And all of these units are required for a Galactic Legend or Legendary unit with Keller and Beck needed for Bo-Katan. And then you could also throw in Ayla, who's a Jedi Master Kenobi requirement. So I'm looking at this Jedi Vanguard faction and saying, hey, maybe invest in some of these ones who are... And invest doesn't mean gear them up. It just means have their stars ready. Maybe you have some gear on them already. But I'd be looking at these characters because I think Jocasta is going to come into the game and make this faction really good. And you're going to want the ability to take advantage of that because many of you are at that stage where you can hit Conquest and get 7-star units. But those units are only as good as the teams that you have ready to put them into. So I'd make sure that you have some work done or at least be able to do work in this faction. And that means stars. Another faction that I am really considering, telling you guys, hey, be getting these guys, is the Imperial remnants. Particularly these four. And I've preached enough about Night Trooper, Death Trooper, and Captain Enoch. But the reason I'm throwing Dark Trooper Moff Gideon in is because we know that, I shouldn't say we know, a lot of us are assuming that the next galactic legend to offset Ahsoka is going to be Thrawn, and most likely an Imperial remnant version of Admiral Thrawn. I would not be shocked if Dark Trooper Moff Gideon was required for the next galactic legend. And the reason I say that, again, to use our favorite pun, the cat is out of the bag. Commander Tano was required for Galactic Legend Ahsoka. They are not afraid of putting conquest units inside of a Galactic Legend requirement. And I think that we can see that with Dark Trooper Moff Gideon. He's a very good character. The Imperial Remnant faction is getting a lot of attention. They've really done a good job to try and, build this faction out. I would not be shocked if Dark Trooper Moff Gideon was required. So I would be ignoring this faction at your own peril, because I do believe that we have not seen the final state of this team and these characters. So just kind of, file that in the back of your head that I would be so cautious to not farm and get ready for these guys. And for Dark Trooper Moff Gideon, that may mean just getting yourself ready for that proving ground. Like, I would be fully prepared for that, because it is a very good team. And I think it's something that a lot of players will see a good bit of benefit from. So the next thing is, and this is kind of more of a concept than like a hard, fast list, but that is avoid investing in nothing teams and instead invest in something teams. Dramatic pause. No. So a nothing team doesn't mean that they're not good, or even that they don't get you into a legendary character. It means that additional investment isn't getting you anywhere, that it's not doing anything that that team already doesn't do. Think about the Mother Talls and Night Sisters. That's a great team. But me taking them to Relic 5 or Relic 7 is not benefiting me in any way. I don't need them to do anything else. Same with the Zori Resistance or Imperial Troopers with Veers. Taking my Gungans to Relic 8, it helped me in the raid, but it doesn't help me anywhere else. With Bosk Bounty Hunters, another one. Those extra relics are not going to help me do something that I'm not already doing with some other team. But instead, if you invest in these something teams, these teams whereby investing additional relics does get you more, or does help you get more. So think about, like, hey, Mother Talzin or the Great Mothers. Well, the Great Mothers would be that answer. Hey, instead of investing in like your Zori team, build up Ben Solo, get some extra relics on him. Instead of Imperial Troopers, build the Inquisitors, increase their relic levels. Hey, instead of investing more into your Gungans, build up your Mandalorians. They're a faction that has a Relic 9 mission on Mandalore. That might be something you want to be thinking about. Hey, instead of building up your Bounty Hunters, right, build up your Rebel Fighters for the Guild of Currency 2 mission. The idea here is you want to be investing in teams that get you something, and not just talking about, and again, we're using these two, like, obviously, Gungans are going to be more important to build up than, like, Imperial Troopers or, Tuskens, right, because they do get you something, but making additional investments. You want to avoid investing in those teams that it's not going to get you anything else. It's not going to improve your account. And the argument that some of you will make is, it's going to improve my account because I'll have a better character. But if that character isn't helping you accomplish anything, what does it matter? Right? So I hope that kind of makes sense, that nothing team versus something team. That we're looking at the teams that by increasing their relics, or those characters that by increasing relics, increasing gear, they're allowing you to do something that you weren't doing before. That's always one of the criteria I use for encouraging people to make investment decisions, is does it allow you to do something that you're not already doing? And then finally, relic upgrades. And I'm looking specifically at kind of characters and the kind of character that they are. So these are all something characters. These are all characters that, hey, they do something. They're very, very good. One thing I notice a lot of players doing is they like to make the flashy upgrades. They like to upgrade Malicos and Starkiller and Iden and, Kaidimundi and Jedi Knight Revan, these flashy units that a lot of people see, that they pay attention to, that are really cool. But those relic upgrades, while they could be nice, they're not as important as some that benefit your Galactic Legends. Your Galactic Legend teams are what stand the test of time, right? They are the pinnacle of this game still, and they've continued to be the pinnacle of this game. And so you're better off, instead of trying to take your Starkiller and Malicos to Relic 8, take your Drogon and R2-D2 to Relic 9, right? For me. Or, hey, I want to increase my Iden Versio. I want to make her super good. I may as well just do that to Royal Guard. Like, I'm going to get more out of that. Or, I want my Jedi to get better. Well, you know what? I may as well do that for my Hutt Cartel and make Jabba's team more effective. So, what I'm trying to make sure you guys understand here is that, well, yes, some of these characters, in making their flashy relics, can make them better in a, certain situation. These ones make them better in all situations. Because how often are you pulling out Malicos for a territory war? Right? Most of you are not. Unless you're a territory war focused guild. But most people aren't in a guild that is so focused in territory wars. Think about your Starkiller. Yes, Relic 8 on him is super cool. But is it actually necessary? No. Right? Like, there's certain times where a lot of people just get so caught up in the flashy moment by the flashy characters. So especially when you're in this stage where we're moving into this era of kind of unknowns, you'd rather be making those upgrades into things that have stood the test of time, that are going to continue to shine. Those Galactic Legend upgrades. This is the safest place to make upgrades to your roster, because they're going to be there for the longest period of time. And you could say, oh, well, Starkiller will be there for forever. You never know. Because the Qui-Gon Jinn Omicron is starting to lose a lot of the value that it once held. And with this Jedi Vanguard faction incoming, there's a big case to be made that maybe he can't be on defense anymore because of what Jocasta Nu will do. And that you're just not going to want to have him anywhere. And I'm, making a big assumption there, but I'm just trying to prove the argument here. So, I hope this gives you some direction. That you want to focus your upgrades into things that are going to stand the test of time, even if it's over stuff that does get you something. Avoid those teams that don't really help you get anywhere else, and invest in the teams that do get you something. Because if they do change something, and hey, you know what, Rebel fighters aren't needed, well, at least I built up my Saw Gerrera for the Get To mission, and that's going to help my guild. At least I can get more combats done, or I'm going to be getting more holds out of my raid team. Think about the factions that are going to be needed soon. I'm going to be telling you, I would not be shocked when we need more Imperial remnants than we already have. That's just back of your mind. And then just make sure you're not pre-equipping gear and Zetas. You want to make sure that you're hanging on to those things. If you can do that, I think you're going to set yourself up for success in the coming weeks and months of SWGOH as we transition out of the Naboo raid. Let me know your thoughts down below. Like, subscribe, comment. I love you all. May the Force be with you, and I'll see you in the next one. Cheers, my friends.